And we're live. I've got Jules. Oh, Jules.
I'm here. Alive.
Now, new character on the pod tonight. First time.
We'll go into it.
We will. But if you've been listening for the last few weeks, you can probably work out very quickly why Dan's not here. And yeah, he's watching from home tonight. I've got some notes from him, but he's a dad.
He had a kid.
He said I spoke to him today and he said he was happy for us to share, but he's a dad.
Yeah, he had a kid.
Yeah.
Alessandro.
Congrats.
Alessandro.
Big congrats to him and Lauren.
That's it. And I hope he's watching at home. I did tell him to watch. He probably won't.
No, he said he would.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get into this in a minute. But that's it for Dan. I'm actually really happy I don't have to deal with him this week, if I'm being honest.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's our moment. We finally, as a generation, we can hang our hat on a genuine moment.
Honestly, we are a force because of the intensity that we play at is just next level.
We want to be here. We want to impact finals. And it's one thing of obviously saying it, but we just lived it.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 135 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, part of the Blue Broad Media Network, proudly powered in 2024 by Image Online. The studio's here in Abbotsford, live calling, jingles, voiceovers, obviously the podcast studio. So if you need anything like that for your business, Image Online in Abbotsford.
And please, someone use Image Online.
If we want to be here next year.
Maybe not just next year, maybe even in the future weeks. We'll have a look.
Yes.
But we'll see.
Off the top, obviously, we said Dan wasn't here for obvious reasons, but we're a new guest. We're going to get in one of the regulars, but I thought, let's keep it group.
Yeah. Familiar. And we have.
Well, Corey here tonight.
Hello.
Corey's my cousin, but he's my friend first. He's our friend first before he's my cousin, but he is family. How are you?
I'm all right.
This has been a long time coming.
It has been, yeah. You've invited me a couple of times. I've declined.
Oh, see, at least you're telling the truth tonight, because in our group chat, he says he's never invited me this and that. I've invited him plenty of times.
Yeah, but if he did lie, you just be on the socials next week.
That's right. That's it.
It's a one and done, depending on what I say.
No, you'll be fine. Now, we obviously don't just bring in guests that are just random. We bring in Carlton supporters. And he's been a Carlton supporter his whole life. And I've actually got some evidence here, because it's usually what the people like. This is how long he's been a Carlton supporter for. There's Corey and Big Red, Lance, at at one of those kids' days, the family days we used to go to when we were kids. Remember that?
Yeah, that's the opposite table, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, it would be.
Probably.
Well, you can see the stand in the background there, yeah.
Hmm.
And me and Corey here at the 99 grand final, 4 years old. Face paint, everything.
Wallace.
Yeah.
Is that Joe in a Cats jersey?
That's not a Cats jersey. It's just a blue and white polo. Relax. Both had Big Red's number on our face there, but he's been a Carlton supporter for a long time. So
yeah,
he knows what he's talking about.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. There's a lot of love for Dan in the chat. Congratulations everywhere. If he's watching, I hope he is watching and he sees all the congratulations in the chat. I'll make sure he does see it. Because Dan likes a bit of self gratification.
Yeah, a lot of it.
But no, Alessandro, new bagger. Yeah,
He's a member.
Dan,
He's a member.
He's already a member, yes. But we'll let Dan discuss more next week when he's back in the studio. For now, before we get into the footy, and it's a big night that we've got coming up, because we've got a lot to discuss. But before we do, how's the weekend? Corey.
It's all right. I actually got to get we had Mrs. family over just before. I just got out of that. So
Yeah.
thanks, Joe.
That's a good excuse to get out of dinner.
So that's why actually on the pod, huh?
I'm going to cop it for that.
No, during the week, well, I asked him, I go, do you want it? And he goes, I'm not sure. And then he went, actually, I will, because it gets me out of dinner.
I'm going to cop it.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Trying to think. Not much. Obviously the footy, and then actually, you know what? I went out to dinner in Mooney Ponds on Friday night with Victor. He's probably watching. And his partner or his wife, Judith. Ramen, good spot.
What's it called?
Very good spot. Can't remember. Actually, can't remember. But you know where KFC is on the corner?
No,
It's
we don't live in Mooney Ponds.
well, Mount Alexander Road. There's a KFC on the corner. Okay, if you're going down that street, the KFC is on the right. Go down. It's probably about halfway down on your left. There was a massive line. Anyway, it's
Alexander
unbelievable.
No, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, you don't know Melbourne.
You don't even know the name of the joint.
But I know Melbourne.
Yeah, well, you both said not much happened over the weekend. I'll tell you something that happened today. The whole world's fucking talking about. I'm sorry. It's now we're bipartisan here. We're not taking sides. That's not what this is about. But
That's not how we
this
discuss things
is
pre-show.
this is on the show. We're bipartisan. But I'm like, have we ever lived through something like this with an assassination attempt of a president? I don't think we have, right? Not of an American president.
I think
Not
the
in our
last
lifetime.
one, I was watching some stuff today. I think the last one was 1981 on Reagan, I think. Or attempt anyway.
Unbelievable. Genuinely ridiculous. Yeah, I know. Obviously, we're not going to comment on it from that sense, but it is. It's world news. It's crazy. It's nuts. And that photo is just like, I don't know. It's the most American thing you'll ever see.
Pretty iconic.
American flag in the background, getting fist raised, blood pouring from his face. It's unbelievable. Anyway, it had to be discussed. I'm sorry. You two didn't want to discuss it, but mate.
Well, I said we always say if you want to have another
Anyway,
show,
if I knew our audience, which I do, there's not too many that are woke in this audience. I can tell you for a fact, so that's fine. Righto. I don't think there's too much else to discuss. Corey, without any further ado.
Joe, before you get into
Match report.
the match report, Corey, do you know what that reminded me of?
The Whisper.
No, yeah, the Whisper. Is it the Sixth Sense?
Oh, yeah.
Is it the Sixth
I
Sense?
see dead people.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
All right.
Half dead yesterday. so-
Yeah, that's actually true. That's good. Yeah, hey, you've come in on a very toxic episode. Like it's not going to be
I'll
good
bring
tonight.
some positive.
This is where everything comes out of Joe.
Yeah,
Everything.
but we're going to try and keep it as calm
Calm,
as possible. But it was concerning yesterday, was it not? I think that's the first time I've been concerned this year. That's what I saw. Anyway, let's get through the match report. Final scores: 14-16, 100. Western Bulldogs beat the Blues by 14 points, 12-14, 86. Goals for the Blues: Elijah and Chincotta with one each. Cripps and Ellies with 2. Mackay and Kerno with 3. Only 6 goal kicks this week. That's tells the tale. Williams off with a hamstring. I think it was just tightness. Early in the game, I think it was the second quarter. 45,000 at Marvel. Yeah. Where do you want to start? Because, like I said, we went, obviously, and that was as concerned as I've ever been watching our team play yesterday. Well, for this season, anyway.
I mean, even inside the first quarter, I wasn't happy or content. Obviously, we were leading on the scoreboard. What were we end up leading by? I think it was like 16 or something like that at quarter time. Something like that. Yeah, it was 2.5 goal margin, something like that. And yeah, I just felt like as if Western Bulldogs would probably still had the better of us. Obviously, they kicked 7 behinds, I think, inside the first quarter. Is that correct?
Yep. Did they start with 7 behinds straight?
Yeah, straight.
Yeah, 7 behind straight. And I still feel like as if they had the better of us. I just think that we converted and they didn't. We were able to put the scoreboard pressure on. I felt like as if over the whole course of the game, though, we were never in a position where we felt like as if we were going to win. And even Voss alluded to that in the press conference as well.
What it looked like on TV, because at the ground, we could see how poor it was on every line, like defensively, midfield, forward. It was at 6s and 7s the whole game. Did it look that way on TV? Did we look more structured?
It wasn't great, but I think it was only till the first 5 minutes of the last quarter where I thought, all right, we've lost. Like, it took that long for, like, just me anyway. I just thought we're hanging around. I was like, we were leading most of the game. I think we were. And then that first 5 minutes of the last quarter killed us, basically. But, yeah, during the game, we never looked good. We made them look better than what they actually are because they had Trelaw out. They had a couple of players out. We ended up to worry about 2 or 3 players on their team, basically, and we couldn't do that. So,
my dad said, like, it was probably around that point in the game as well. He goes, all we need is 5 minutes against these guys because they were great. Like you could tell they weren't that great, but we were just we were terrible.
Did you feel like as if the 5 minutes was ever gonna come?
No, it didn't actually feel that way. Yeah, it was more hope than like it's going to happen. Other weeks, it's been like it's coming. You can see that it's coming. it was just hopeless yesterday.
In essence, I know I'm sort of fast forwarding it a little bit, but even in the last quarter, we probably did put enough scores on the board
We definitely lifted
to try and
the
get
last
into it.
score. After their patch at the start. We did lift to try and obviously we're trying to claw our way back 4 goals down.
It's very
but
late. Yeah,
It's too late, but yeah,
we had chances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fogarty dropped mark. Obviously, Charlie had. I think he missed 4. Well, I think he literally missed 3 or 4 in that last 15 minutes, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah, even the Cripps one, obviously,
can't
with
leave it
the
that
goal,
late.
the goal umpire, the umpire's decision to.
oh, what
to
was
bring
that? Did you what on TV? Right, Cripps. You know, Cripps' second shot at goal that obviously his set shot at goal from 50 out that
Yeah.
missed, but it hit Owies inside 50, and they didn't pay the advantage. They brought the ball back. Do you remember that? Late in the game?
sort of, but yeah, not yeah.
Did it look like advantage should have been paid? I haven't seen the replay.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it was like a good 20 meters forward, so I don't know why. Yeah,
But the ball came out because usually advantage is if the ball comes out the back of or
Yeah.
in line with where the free kick was paid, and the team wants to take advantage. You can take advantage. I've seen advantage paid when the ball comes out the front. It wasn't that at all. It looked like play didn't stop. We didn't even know a free
So
kick
you-
was called.
So you're telling me the advantage rule, if it goes out the back,
It should be paid.
it should be paid.
Yeah.
But not forward.
Usually forward of centre, no. Forward of the free kick, no.
Okay.
I think the advantage rule needs a lot of work.
I think there's a lot.
anyway,
There's a lot of
regardless.
subjective
So,
rules that need
Yeah.
a lot of work.
I know. I just feel like as if in that position, it's. I mean, I didn't even hear a whistle.
Yeah.
No, it didn't look like play stopped at all.
Yeah.
I didn't even. I
Yeah.
took.
I thought it was gonna be holding the ball or something because I don't know he took the tackler on or a high fend off or something. But it
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah.
Anyway, it just, I think it wasn't our day.
Yeah.
It just wasn't our day. Across so many aspects. We didn't get to play our game. They just looked like they were up for the fight from the start, and they looked like they had more energy than us for the 4 quarters.
I think that's what won them the game in the end.
Yeah.
Technically or strategically weren't better than us. They just had more will to win.
Work rate, and we're going to talk a lot about work rate tonight
Yeah.
because
Yeah, for me, it was evident in terms of the amount of turnovers we had. I think we had 72 turnovers on the night. And obviously, you're going to have turnovers, and obviously, you're going to set up to nullify those turnovers, obviously, if they do eventuate. But for me, boys, it was the way in which we did turn over the ball. I mean, I don't know how many out of bounds on the Fools were there, or I think Newman had one. Boyd had 2, I think.
Mhm.
And just a number of kicks that just went astray. I
But-
think it was evident that was a main part of the game where Western Bulldogs on top of us.
I've just realised I didn't switch the audio to the mics, so now the mic's going to be a lot better because there were a few people in the chat going, "What's wrong with the mic? What's wrong with the audio?" 10 minutes in, it took me this week to switch it. So now, if you're in the live chat, you'll hear us properly. Yeah, it definitely. I don't know. 72 turnovers for context. Under the roof at Marvel, perfect conditions. Yeah. The night before, Collingwood Geelong match, Collingwood only had 54 turnovers in a losing game. So, and out in the elements as well. So the ball use from us yesterday wasn't just poor; it was horrific.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
And I think in the context of this thing as well, and Joe, I don't know if you want to get the stats up in terms of the pressure gauge, because they
Yep.
were only hovering around about
Yeah.
180 for predominantly
wasn't
the whole of
massive.
the game. It wasn't like as if it was no one was really hitting 200 plus, except for the fourth quarter where Western Bulldogs did. So, especially in the first and second where some of those turnovers were, Western Bulldogs were hitting 170, 174. 194 in the third. Obviously, they lifted. And then in the fourth, 201. But in the fourth 201, that's when we probably played our best footy in the last 20 minutes or so as well.
Yeah, but you're leaving it too late. Like that's just no. Well, I think that 164 is our pressure rating in the fourth. Theirs was 201.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They were 201.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
I'm saying underneath that pressure,
is when we probably stepped up a bit.
Probably stepped up a bit, and we only went at 164.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just very unlike us, and like conceding 31 scoring shots as well. Like they had 31 shots a goal.
Yeah, I think the first and second quarter, obviously they had 0-7 in the first, but that 7-goal second quarter, that
That's
is
ridiculous.
Insane. Like you can't let a team kick 7 goals in a quarter.
no, and like you said
That's,
pre-show, we're lucky that they kicked on
Yeah,
7. In
but
the
it happened
first.
how many did we concede in the quarter last week? Didn't we get?
Yeah, I think it was 8, maybe
Yeah,
or 6.
so
or 6
that's
to 8.
2 weeks in a row.
Mm.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not at all. Now, do you want to get into your
Yeah, let's do it.
all right Forget your little
Yeah,
intro.
that one.
We're not doing that anymore.
All right. Casano's Colts.
And I do apologise for the first 10 minutes if you're listening on Spotify as well. They wouldn't have been able to hear jack shit that Corey was saying because the mic's over here. He's at the computer mic's over here. He's over there. They wouldn't have heard anything. So my apologies, Corey. That's not.
We're gonna have to get you on.
That's not
again.
the best. That's not the best debut. If you didn't hear at the start, which you I was the one talking, so that's fine. Go, Jules.
You know what? Good. It's good, Joe, that you're taking accountability.
No, I will.
For your
Absolutely.
actions. It's good.
I always do. Fuck off. Fucking do. He looks at Jules. Yeah, that's all right. I know where you're going tonight. That's fine.
Oh, you didn't drive here together, so it's all right.
Go on.
You can do whatever you want, Corey. It's not
Go
as if you need to lift home.
Go on.
I would have taken you anyway. All right. So now for me, this is where the game was won or lost, and I think there's probably a big context involved in this because I think this conversation could go for about 20 minutes. Because I think there's a little bit of there's a lot of different elements that can come into play. So, Joe, if you want to get them up just for the well, not the listeners, for the viewers, just to be able to see it. But if you have a look at stoppage, so we scored 30, so 4-6-30, and they were able to do 7-8-50. Okay, so obviously we're negative 20 there. But you have a look at centre bounce. So we scored 1 goal from centre bounce, so 1-0-6. And this is all thanks to Bagalytics. So thank you very much for what he does. This is the first credit I'm actually giving after about 6 weeks. So sorry there, mate. And then if you have a look at Western Bulldogs, they kick 4-2-26. I know it says plus 20 there, but obviously it's negative 20.
Minus, yep.
So obviously around the ground, if you minus, in terms of the stoppage, if you minus their 20 from there, we're actually able to even it up. But it was obviously at the centre bounce where stoppage and clearance works. Obviously, they were able to go to play. Now, this is I feel like as if this has been a real trend for us over the course of, and it's not just the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we had the conversation about the 1 ruck, 2 ruck. I know last week I brought into the conversation. I actually don't think it is the ruck or was the ruck. I think it's our players that are playing in the centre clearances. Obviously Cripps had an unbelievable game, so I'm not really targeting him. But the likes of Chera, the likes of Kennedy, and the likes of Walsh, and the want to defend. Okay, and I think the work rate going forward from them going forward, with their run and power by leg is unbelievable. But the will and want to do the dirty work and run the other way has been ridiculously poor. And it hasn't only been the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you. I just think we've been very good in terms of the clearance and putting scores on the board. But this week was a little bit of an outline where we really weren't able to. So yeah, boys, I just think it's really interesting in terms of these stats, in terms of what actually happened on the actual day, because this is where the game was won and lost.
It was simple. They killed us at centre bounce. They had their way all night. If the ball didn't spill our way out of the centre bounce, there was just no follow-up pressure whatsoever from any of the midfielders. Maybe Cripps. You give Cripps a chop out because he had a brilliant night. But if the ball went the way of the Dogs, it was just they just had it whichever way they wanted out the front of stoppage.
And for me, it actually wasn't the amount of clearances. So it wasn't by amount, okay, in terms of numbers.
No, because we won the clearance.
Yeah, we won the clearances by 3 or 4 or something like that. So even it was both centre clearance and stoppage around the ground. We actually won them. So it wasn't that. It's the efficiency that they were able to.
Well, I've got to
go inside 40-50.
I've got a stat here. So Blues won clearance count 45-40 on the night, but the Dogs had 34-31 effective clearances. So their efficiency coming out of clearance was way better. And I assume effective clearance means the next kick. So they've hit a target, or they've actually done something with it. So 34 of their 40 clearances were effective. Only 31 of our 45 were effective. So we've had almost 15 ineffective clearances across the night. And you could see it, right?
Yeah. Just that whole center, even any stoppage around the ground, just follow up. Yeah, it was non-existent pressure.
Now,
basically.
I'm going to ask something here. Around you alluded to that you didn't actually think it was the ruck issue this week. I'll ask you. Did you see it as a ruck issue, or did you see it as a midfield issue?
There's a few issues, but in terms of the ruck issue, I think if you play 2 rucks, one becomes pretty ineffective, especially when Harry and Charlie are firing. Like,
Yeah,
what's
if
Tom
they're
going
not
to do
hitting
in
the
the forward
scoreboard,
line?
that's
If
true. Yeah,
You keep going to those two guys. You don't need Tom, basically, in the forward line.
Mm.
But where does he go anywhere else? He doesn't go anywhere else,
Yeah.
or the bench. So you pretty much eliminate his effectiveness from the game if you play another ruck, unless for some reason they're targeting him up forward. But we didn't even go to him once, I don't think.
That's true.
Last night.
That's true.
Um,
There's a few in the comments that have said the same. Tom
so you
didn't
pretty
look- Tom
much
didn't look
either way,
confident.
like if you play,
Yeah.
one can go missing basically. So
Yeah, I look, I agree with you, Corey, and I've
Yeah.
been a big fan of just having one ruck since the start. But I like the game wasn't won or lost in the rucking department for me.
Well, we won the hitouts. So
Yeah,
if you're looking
yeah.
at ruck stats alone,
Yeah.
one hitouts to advantage, one clearance.
Yeah.
So the rucks themselves probably did the job they needed to do.
But
I do understand what you're saying because Tom didn't really have the effectiveness around the ground as well.
not he has
in the past
month.
couple of weeks. Yeah.
but it's not.
But with that said, he didn't do it last week against Share versus solo ruck either. So this is where I'm kind of now like, okay, we've spoken about all year. It's got to be opposition dependent. I think yesterday was the right oppo to do it against, with Tim English being a premier ruck and obviously Rory Lobb giving chop out as well. But it just, for me, it was the midfielders at their feet. There was no work rate, like we said, post clearance. There was fumbles when they had the ball in their hand around clearance. I don't know how many times I saw an Adam Chera or even a Sam Walsh yesterday fumble the footy, just trying to get a handball out of congestion. The midfielders, they've got to look each other in the eye after that and just basically say, what the fuck? Like, that can't happen again. They had their colours lowered all day.
I agree. Going back to, because I know we'll definitely go back into the mids for sure. And discuss one and maybe two other players in terms of the inclusions over the last few weeks. And we'll go into more greater detail. But for me, it was even Harry Mackay. So I think he kicked 3 goals inside the first quarter and maybe 10 minutes, something like that. From half time onwards, he only had 1 touch.
Yeah, he's nowhere. Yeah.
So and he's still in my votes. I still put him in my votes, but having the 3, I just don't know if in terms of like ball movement and the way in which they all try and get involved in the game. Obviously, it's one game and they haven't really worked together for a long period of time as well. So that sort of comes into play too. But just in terms, and like I said it before, it's not that Pito's a bad ruck or TDK is a bad ruck. It's not that. I've always said it's not just about the player. It's about the effect of having one ruck and the flow-on effect towards the other key position players in the side, and in terms of the way we move the ball and the way we compete. Tall. Yeah,
because then it makes you slower, obviously. So
I did say to you once, like yesterday, looking at it, we did look very tall.
This is
especially with
Marchbank as well. Yeah. 3 key defenders and 3 key forwards.
Yeah, and then plus 2 ruckmen.
Yeah. Well, Tom's one of the forwards, but
I think you need the 3 tall defenders.
But it's the difference with Gov's to Marchbank is that's right.
Yeah.
Gov can sort of give you some run.
Yeah.
Marchbank is just another key. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Gov's a bit more dynamic.
And I get that. But you're going to come across teams who have those genuine key 2 talls.
Yeah.
And obviously Western Bulldogs didn't have that yesterday. I actually don't think they had 1 key tall inside their forward 50.
Sam Darcy. Hugo Hagen.
Those 2 guys,
Hugo Hagen's what, 190? But he's like 191, but 192. He's not a big boy. He's not a big boy.
I think he's bigger than that.
Of course, he had the game of his life. But
he's not
best game of his life.
He isn't a Hogan. He isn't a Hawkins. He's not that. He's not even that type of player. I don't think he's that big. He might be a bit taller. He probably plays tall.
Regardless, he kicked their ass. So
he did. He did. But he's not a.
He's 197.
Is he?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's a big guy.
No, he's not.
Oh shit! Sorry.
No, he's
That's
not.
the first time I've dropped that on this show.
He's not 197.
He's a big bastard. No, he is. He's big.
No way.
Yeah, he's 197.
He looks shorter.
Right. Well, he's big.
I don't know. Weirder in terms of size, though. It's chalk and cheese. And that's what I'm alluding to. For me.
Yeah. Sorry, I just dropped the magic. Genuinely just dropped the magic. I lost complete sense of where I was at. No, well, yeah, I get where you're coming from though. They're not a Brisbane. They've got a Danaher and a Hipwood and
and when when they had a McStay and
Gavin liked that one. The old C-bomb. All right, so it's a good segue in terms of personnel. You're already done. That's a shock.
At least I'm not dropping anything inappropriate.
I know.
Anyway, drink responsibly as well.
Of course.
We
Yes, personnel. I'm going to play. We don't usually like to get too self-indulgent on the show, do we, Jules?
No, you're definitely. This is the one. This is the one. Is it all right if other people have their say before you go all out, or
I'm not going all out. I'm going to play a clip.
Oh.
It's not about me. I'm playing a clip.
it's not about him?
A couple of weeks ago, so there's a 3-minute clip I'm going to play from an episode we did a couple of weeks ago where we were talking about. I spoke to you about this today, so I want to get your opinion on this. Where we spoke about personnel coming in based off of what I called contracts or status versus form or merit, and the concern that I had in particular over whether or not that trend might continue, as we saw with the prelim last year. So I'm going to play this clip, and then we'll discuss from there. Before we get to the votes, around balance, right? And it's something that I'm a little bit, if I've got one concern, it's around, right now the balance is really good, really good. But I've got a little bit of concern around once all of these players are available, there are certain players that have to play. And it's purely down to the fact that in sport, when you've got a contract that's a certain size and you've got a player that is of a certain class, they play. They do. They play. It's just it's fact, right? So it could get a little bit crowded in the midfield considering some of the contracts that are in there. This is how I think. And we saw it last year in the prelim, okay? He's got dropped. Doherty moved up to a half-forward flank. Like, remember those changes we spoke about where we go,
I think this time round might be a bit
played more
different.
wing, but
or wing, whatever it was. But
Doc played wing.
we tried to fit certain players in just because they were those players and we needed them playing.
I would hope personally that's not the case.
Well, this is
I would really hope
so, and I actually hope we've actually learnt from last.
So do I.
Agree.
However,
these are obviously just my thoughts. This isn't the answer. But on the weekend, you saw Hewitt come out and Kennedy come. And Chera come in. Okay, so in terms of the balance is the same.
That's now. I get that now.
So next week, what about if it's I don't know, always. It's your time to rest on the bench, okay? And then instead of an Elijah Hollins going into the midfield, okay, Walsh is playing off the half-forward flank, and then all of a sudden, you've still got that same sort of balance. That's what I think the rotations will be, okay? I don't think there'll be any rotations where there's a defender rested. I think that'll be amongst that midfield group, okay? I don't think a Cripps or a Walsh is going to be a sub. I don't see it. If anything, they'll just be rested totally towards the back half of the year. But it will be a Kennedy or a Hewitt, and it will be an always probably not a Fog, but it could be a Fantasia. It could be
or maybe a Williams,
or a Williams, and they're the sub for the day, and that's where the rotations will be for balance.
I just think it's an interesting watch.
Selection.
Nah, just over the next 8 weeks leading into finals, I think it's very interesting to see the way they go. And like I said, looking at last year and the way that we selected for the prelim, I would hope that we're not going down a similar path when it comes to finals and when it comes to bigger games where we go, we're just going to get our best. We're going to get our best personnel out there.
Common sense for me would say form prevails.
100%. And I want.
Common sense. Yeah. We didn't see it in the prelim. This is what I'm saying.
And in terms of form, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, okay, we've been getting players back. I want to continue to see players back.
Of course.
What
What he's saying is like scenario is we do have depth in selection.
Like we saw in the prelim. You have to play certain players just because. That's what I don't want to run
that's
into.
where we're at as a football club.
Yeah.
Personally.
Not where we're at as a football club. Well, I'll say one thing. I don't give you too much credit, but you nailed it in terms of that was after the Richmond game. So before GWS and before this game, you said you'd likely see Owies as a sub, tick, and then it's Kennedy or Hewitt, tick. Now, my concern, and I'll direct this at you because we had a chat about this today. We've seen Chera come in, which was the concern that I had, that Chera and Cottrell would come straight in, no form, no merit, mess with the dynamic completely that we were able to build over that 5 or 6 weeks that was winning us games. They've come in, and it looks like defensively our midfield's fallen to shit. Now, I'm not blaming this on Chera himself. It's not. But he's been poor since he's come back in. You drop a guy like Hewitt, that's what you're losing. And if you can't replicate that as a player that's coming in, you're going to see the output that we've gotten the last 2 weeks out of that midfield group. You had a different opinion.
I just think it's obviously not Chera's fault. I think he's a good player. obviously.
Mhm.
He's pretty good. But the role that he's playing is not his role. I don't think that's his most effective role on the team. I think why are we playing Hewitt in the twos is
It's ridiculous.
beyond me.
Did you see his numbers today?
Yeah, but like, why even risk him? What if he got injured or something?
Yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah.
If you're going to rest him, rest him. But
Yeah.
obviously, not resting him. They've dropped him for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
No, definitely drop.
But yeah, we just need that second in and under mid. We don't have it.
It's clear.
It's Hewitt, obviously.
Yeah.
Kennedy wasn't really there yesterday, so
Yeah, I think
Um,
Hewitt's.
But Kennedy's more that player that if it comes out the front of Stoppage, he's the one that bursts away for us. He's got that
Yeah.
power, that breakaway
Mm,
speed.
yeah.
Hewitt doesn't have that. He's the one that's in and under, just
Yeah.
dishing out and a bit of composure. Chera didn't do either of those things for us yesterday
Mm.
or the week before.
Yeah, but the ball, especially Western.
And you're right. It may not be his role, to be fair.
But especially Western Bulldogs, even GWS the previous week, and it was even against Richmond actually when Hewitt was the sub, because he's actually missed 3 weeks of footy now in terms of AFL level. So obviously the Richmond he was the sub. GWS
He got subbed off against Richmond, didn't he?
No, he came on.
Oh, he came on.
on
Yeah,
as
he
a
came
sub.
on, you're right. Yeah.
He came on as a
Yeah,
sub.
you did.
He came on as a sub.
Yeah.
GWS he was emergency and he flew up, but obviously didn't play in the VFL side. I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
And then obviously he just played now. So 3 weeks is essentially not played AFL footy. We did the first week, but it would have been a quarter.
Mm.
So yeah, for me, Hewitt's that guard. So in terms of like the protecting the space behind the stoppage, so then the other teams don't like penetrate. So we go back and you remember the goal that Dacos scored against us.
Mm.
Chera was that person.
Yeah.
Chera was that
he
person.
needed to be in that space. That's right.
Hewitt needed to be in that space, and that's him. He guards that space to make sure that the opposition don't obviously penetrate through that area. So, for me, Hewitt needs to come back in ASAP, and I'm sure he will.
Like I said, I was concerned before it even happened. Before all of this even occurred, I reflected on it and went, I just hope we pick players on merit and form, and regardless of the contract status, regardless of the name, they earn their spot. And it didn't happen. We've lost 2 games since. So for me, it's still a massive watch going into the back end of the year, because I think the best teams that we've seen across the last few years, they'll drop the players that aren't in form. They're the ones that win the flags. You have to.
Yeah.
Correct. You have to. If you're not in form and you're not showing that you can contribute some added value, you got to go earn it.
For me, though, it's not just. I mean, obviously we've got question
And
marks.
this is for me. I'm not questioning Chera, right? I'm not questioning a Cottrell. I'm questioning the selection integrity. I'm
For sure,
questioning I'm questioning the selection committee, because this has now been a trend that we've seen with this group under Voss for a little while. And usually when those types of players get injured, that's when we've seen the best output. When a Fogarty came in last year, Cunningham and Martin, we went on that run. They covered for some injured bodies. Those injured bodies came back. We lost a prelim. You can say what you want. It was a contributing factor. We might have had underdone players that day. We've seen it now for the last 2 weeks again. We had players that were playing a role. Fantasia, as much as you want to say, you can say what you want to say. Fantasia, a Hewitt, they've been playing a role for that 5-6 week block that we put together. They come out of the side. 2 come in that might be underdone. Pitto even as well. Messes with the midfield mix.
Yeah.
You see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, selection integrity is huge, and the last couple of weeks we definitely haven't had it. But it's also messed with the continuity, like you said, Joe, within the team and the team structures. So, there was even one passage of play where it was on the bench, and we had Elijah on the wing, and the winger had to go to. I think I pointed it out to you. Our structure and movement, even off the bench, was terrible on the weekend as well.
It was.
I just felt like as if the game, we was very, very complacent.
Yeah.
And I hope that's not even correct. I hope it's not from outside in. And what I mean by that is I'm hoping it's not from the club to the coaching staff to the players.
Well,
because especially in selection integrity, that's what it feels like.
but that's complacency at selection integrity too, right? With the selection committee.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you're thinking, we can just play whoever the fuck we want and we'll win.
We do have an easier run into the finals though. So you'd think they'd leave it till then if they wanted to rest players. When we got
the
bottom
last
4
2-3
teams.
weeks. Not now
Not
when we're
now.
still trying to fight for a top 2 spot.
The Dogs aren't a bad team, but they weren't one of the best teams you've ever seen. So
But they put together some form prior to this. They actually had put together some form.
you lose Trelaw and a couple other players in there, and they're not on paper. We should have.
Yeah.
But then again, so to that point, is that the mindset they had
Well,
going
that's
into
what
the
I'm saying,
game?
that
And that you
possibly
can't
was.
have that.
Nah,
Dan, it's probably almost a good time to read Dan
Western
Jones.
Bulldogs, though, if you have a look at numbers in terms of like scores from stoppage, scores from turnover, etc., even in terms of preventing the opposition, they're actually in the top 6 for like all those stats. So
Yeah.
I know they're at like 9th or 10th on the ladder.
Yeah.
But those kinds of stats actually prove otherwise in terms of actually potentially where they could be on the ladder as well. So they're actually not that bad of an outfit. They're actually pretty consistent. It's just in patches in games. For example, like last week, week prior to us, where they're obviously actually to get beaten and quite convincingly. But overall numbers over the course of the season, they've been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
It's just these one odd games where they haven't been.
Yeah. Probably a good time to read Dan's notes so he doesn't get shitty. I forgot about him. And he's just bullet pointed a few things. So, and there's a few things we've already spoken about, but he says clearance in capital letters and stoppage. Once again, showing how vital getting on top of this area. He's been saying it all year. No two-way running from the midfield. We've spoken about that too. Hewitt is imperative and ruined our defensive side of the game in the guts in his absence. Agree. Chera was almost a cone. Couldn't give a fuck about what the stats say. I'm just reading dead stats. This isn't me. No continuity again with more changes, which is what we're speaking about now. Players coming in that don't look ready, like Cotters, Marchbank, Chera. We need to start having a lineup of best 22 that we're going to roll with before finals and need to build consistency. That wasn't a standard that's acceptable to win a flag. I agree with that. Sam Walsh's worst game in a while, and we'll talk about Walshy now as well. And I agree with that. Kennedy needs to play 4 games. Chera out. Walsh plays all inside rather than starting off the half forward. He needs to be at centre bounce. Charlie Curnow, crucial misses aren't acceptable. 3-7 is bullshit. He didn't take crucial moments. That was his issue. And then Dan asks a rhetorical question. He says, what did I say about our ability to outwork the other team? That's the difference, and we haven't shown it. So he asked the question, then answered it himself.
Yeah.
And then the last one, he said, we talk about big moments. GWS and the Dogs are 2 teams that we should batter. We didn't, and they're moments that could be the difference between top 4 and not, which is true.
We're just lucky the teams below us all.
Well, how good was this weekend for
weekend,
results? Seriously, everything went our way.
And that's why I'm spewing.
Loss. I know, because we
We'd
could
have
have
a good
capitalized.
buffer.
Yeah, could have capitalized, but it's not. Now we're essentially one more loss. We're in that pack that's fighting for not a top 4 spot. They're fighting for like 5th and 6th, and you don't want to be there. It can happen very quickly. So, Sam Walsh, thoughts on his game yesterday and last week, if you want to bundle it, because he's been out of form for 2 weeks now.
You're not going to drop him though.
No. But why do you think there's been a drop-off in form?
Possibly, I've no idea, to be honest. Might be just mid-season.
Could be a bit of a lull.
niggles, who knows? He keeps, obviously, he's applying effort. You can see he's trying, but...
Yeah, but fumbly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see him... not that he's labouring a little bit, but I just think, especially last week, obviously he caught that like a tag or a run with roll from, was it Bedford? What's his name? Bedford.
Was he tagged by Toby Bedford?
He was running with him for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Number 14. JWS,
Yeah.
And then I actually don't even know yesterday who was running with him, to be honest. Can you remember?
No, I don't, because I remember Libba was with
He's on
Cripps at one stage, and then Chincotta was with Bont most of the day.
Yeah, correct. So I actually can't really remember, but I'm assuming Western Bulldogs would have had someone go to him, because even Libba, he's a tagger, but he's one of those midfielders that does and goes both ways. I just think he's struggling at the moment to actually try and break away from those kinds of players.
Well, he can't because he's become the second inside mid without Hewitt there.
So.
You see his contested possession numbers, they're up the last 2 weeks. That's not his game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, and that's, I think I alluded to that last week, but I don't know. I look at the game yesterday, and obviously Cincotta was on Bont in terms of what Libba was trying to do to Cincotta to alleviate, obviously the pressure that Cincotta was putting onto Bont. And I don't see that. I don't see our midfielders protecting other players, essentially their mate, and trying to alleviate them and give them space. They do that. That's why they're able to score from stoppage. That's why they were able to score. I think it was 3 or 4 goals from stoppages inside their forward 50. I think Bont, Jaeger, and I can't remember the other player.
Jaeger?
I'm not Jaeger Amira. Hugo Hagen.
What the fuck?
Hugo Hagen. Jaeger Amira.
Jaeger.
Jaegermeister.
On that, Warren Judd a little bit earlier. I'll try and find the comment.
He nailed me.
Absolutely hammered Jules. Where is it? It's here somewhere.
Where's
Here we go.
Warren Judd?
Warren Judd. Listen to 1 minute of this dribble from Jules, and he says, "Hugo Hagen isn't a tall forward. How dumb are you?" It's not a bad clip from Warren. That's good.
Hey, Warren, man. I don't
Now
know.
he's
I don't know
calling him
everything.
Jaeger. Now he's calling him Jaeger. Today you mentioned to me, so on this Walsh thing, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned Chera could go to a wing because we're like,
Or a
for-
half forward.
Yeah.
Is my thoughts.
but
Like
there's
Zach
there were 4
Williams,
players
yeah,
yesterday. One of them we've already spoken about, Chera. Ollie Hollands, Matt Cottrell, and Caleb Marchbank
on the
might as
chopping
well
block.
not have even
Yeah,
played.
they're on the
right?
chopping block.
I didn't even remember seeing Cottrell throughout the game. If I'm
Yeah,
being honest.
same. Yeah.
But on the Ollie Hollands thing, because we've spoken about this, you listen most weeks.
I
but we've
thought Ollie
spoken
was
about
all
this.
right yesterday. I think he was, yeah. I just thought he was okay.
If it's not Ollie, if it's Cottrell, one or the other, obviously one of them, if you're going to drop someone next week, one of them might be on the chopping block. You were saying something about Chera maybe going to the outside, which could be his game.
Well, potentially, but he obviously he's a good runner, so he should be able to. And he's got good disposal, so that's probably his best attribute is his kick. He nailed one like Charlie
Early on,
like,
yeah.
pinpoint through 2 defenders. We need to see more of that. I just don't know if he can do it when he's rolling through the midfield like that.
Not if he's in an under.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. For me, I mean, we can speak about Cottrell, and I sort of did want to. He's had 13 disposals, not just for the game against Western Bulldogs, for both JDOS and Western Bulldogs.
Yeah.
He probably averages around 15 a game, almost.
Mm.
So obviously heavily down.
But again, is this not evidence potentially of he had to come back through the
Well,
two?
he
He
had
was also
6
getting on the scoreboard a lot earlier in the season.
Yeah, he had 6-7 weeks
yeah.
off.
That's right.
And he's not a Patrick, not.
Did he play VFL?
no,
Nothing.
Yeah,
no,
that's
straight
right.
in.
And I don't want to
Yeah.
disrespect him whatsoever, but he's not Cripps.
No, but he's
he's
not.
not
But
Charlie
he's
Kerner.
clearly not. Look, there's a handful of
You know?
players that you don't drop. That's a Walsh, it's a
Yeah.
Cripps, it's a Harry, it's a Charlie, and it's a Wiedering.
Yeah.
They're the 5 for me that I look at. They're just never going to get dropped. The rest of them, sure, if they're out of touch, no problem. Hewitt's not out of touch. He was playing phenomenal footy. Chera and Cottrell have come in, look underdone, playing like they're underdone, and not adding value at this stage. So it's just another layer of why aren't these players earning their spot?
Yeah, I mean, I had a look at Ollie numbers today. And I think he did do a few. I think it's probably a couple of handballs astray. I know he dropped a mark as well. That was going through the corridor. Someone tried to hit him on 45, but I think he still had pretty reasonable numbers. And I think and I always said it, he plays because of his ability to run and defend the ground. Okay. He still had 16 touches. He went at 81%.
I thought he was okay. Yeah.
Went at 81%.
No, was it? It definitely
had
wasn't
5
his worst game.
tackles.
No, it definitely wasn't his worst game.
Yeah, he's definitely had worse games. I just think he's there predominantly because of structure. And if you have a look at it, how many games do you see us how many games do you see us concede goals off turnover?
Yeah, not many.
Or like ball movement?
Yeah, not many.
Not many.
Not like
And
that.
he-
Not
and
like that yesterday.
Him and Akers are crucial to that. Majority of the goals that we do concede are from stoppages.
Yeah, I mean, did we win the turnover in the end? I think. Oh, it was even.
It was even.
equal.
Pretty sure, yeah.
So yeah, from that perspective, yes. But I don't mind the idea of maybe seeing a Chera on the outside if a Cottrell or off half forward.
Well, he can obviously roll into midfield as well.
Yeah.
But not for most of the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
He's probably better off as that link in between the mids and the forwards because he's got such a great kick.
He's got a good kick when he's not under pressure.
Yeah.
He does revert to the dump kick when he is under pressure. Yeah.
Well, most people do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But and then again on the Walsh thing, if he's the second inside mid, we're not going to get the Sam Walsh that we need. This is why Hewitt's important. So Hewitt can relieve Walsh as that third midfielder at a centre bounce that can receive the handball and go. Same as a Kennedy, he can receive the handball and go and explode from the front. We just haven't seen it the last 2 weeks, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I really don't.
What about? Can I change tack a little bit?
Go on.
What are your thoughts on Sincotta tag?
On Bond,
Why? I'm not.
Getting
I love
loud
Vossi. I love Vossi. Let's get that out there. But when a player like Bailey Dale or like I don't know who was Riley West kicked their ass.
yeah, 4 goals.
When a player is like that taking over a game, like similar to last week, I mean Hogan killed us. No, we just stayed with Kemp on him. No help. Didn't double up. Nothing like that. the tactics just don't seem to change mid-game
Yeah,
from
it's
what
fair.
I see.
Yeah.
I know it's
Especially- I
Bont.
mean, especially
I know it's
yesterday.
Bont. Like if you take him off, does he explode? But like,
But he was still
you still need to
damaging us
cover-
regardless.
Yeah,
Bont,
he still
Bont was still having
he
a
had
game.
20, probably one of the best 21 disposal games.
That's right. But
You'll
this is the
see.
point. So why not just
Yeah.
take Chincotta off and maybe take him to a Dale? I don't.
Well,
I
that's
don't
it.
disagree. I don't disagree. Bailey Dale killed us with his run all
Yeah.
day, and Riley West, like you said, he kicked 4.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then just the matchup on Hugo Hagen obviously is tough, but
Maybe
the
I
best
think
game as
maybe
well.
the laid out with Treloar. I honestly think the plan would have been to put Chincotta with Treloar all
Possibly.
day with the way that he runs.
Yeah.
I think the laid out might have just been a little.
and Chink had a good game. He
did.
He still had a good game.
He hit the scoreboard.
Yeah,
He did what he needed
Still
to
did
do,
what he
but
needed to do.
it just probably wasn't as effective as what they wanted it to be.
Yeah. I mean, at the ground, Bont had 65% disposal efficiency. I think he had 7 score involvements, kicked that goal as well from the stoppage. From memory, Sink was added on that stoppage as well. I mean, did he nullify him in terms of Bont and Pally's usual and high standards?
I'd say
he did.
yes.
I
I'd
think he
say
did.
yes, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
In terms of Dale, I know there was obviously it's hard to see on TV, but I know Sincotta was on Dale on patches or during patches. He usually started off I don't know if you saw, but he actually did start majority of the time off the half forward flank, and then once the ball was balled up, he went straight to a Bontempelli. That happens a number of times, but there were times when obviously Bontempelli was off, he was on a Dale and so on as well. Whether he prevented Dale at any time, not sure, because I can't remember, but I think in the 3/4 time he was leading the disposals on the day and obviously having a bit of a high impact there. But I don't know, were they really transitioning the ball? I don't know.
Well, the numbers clearly say they weren't. It wasn't that effective.
Yeah.
It was stoppage. So anyway. I'm just disappointed, to be honest. One more for me. If we want to talk about Charlie.
Yeah.
I think he's I love him, but is a bit overconfident at times.
That's actually a good way to put it, actually.
There was a couple of times he could have gone obviously a shorter option inside 50, and he's gone for the long range bomb to an open goal square, which is fair enough because it's Charlie. But then he's missed a couple of them, and he's kicked 7 behinds for the game. So it's like,
to be honest, I know it's probably obviously hard to see on TV. I reckon there was probably 3 or 4 times where he did it.
Yeah,
he went for
Yeah,
goal,
for sure.
but there was
one
an
of them
easy
he
option.
nailed. One of them he nailed.
Yeah, one of them he
Great.
nailed.
It's great.
Yeah, one of them
But
he
when he
nailed.
misses, it's like, wow. Okay,
But he
60
burnt.
out.
I know he burned a Cripps at one stage. He burned Ollie Hollands at one stage.
Yeah.
They're the ones that obviously come into mind. But yeah, there were another couple of times.
Yeah.
The one you're alluding to was Ollie Hollands, and maybe
Yeah.
it was Cripps. I think it was both of them actually at the same time.
Yeah.
So he did have options. Yeah, for me, in terms of complacency, that's Charlie Kerner.
It looks like it's creeping in a bit. And the overconfident call is a good one. I haven't heard anyone actually describe it as
He
overconfident.
deserves
but
to
he
be
does.
because he's a gun, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just at times, if he just lowered his eyes just a touch,
Yeah.
hit up a target.
I don't know
When
if
he's on the move, he just
Yeah, he's
looks
the most
so much
dynamic
better.
player
He
you've
looks
ever
so much
seen.
better.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating that he wants these one-on-ones. That goal he kicked out of that stoppage, he hit that stoppage like a freight
just
train.
ran straight through it.
Yeah.
Like, if he's doing that all the time and he's leading and he's trying to get space on his opponent, I said to you, like, from where we were sitting, we could see the way that was set up from the back half, right? And Charlie was basically sitting on the 50 and Harry was just in front of him. And I'm going, if you're Charlie, why are you not taking the defender back to the goal square from here, opening up the space in front of it by that much, waiting for the ball to come to get into our hands forward to center and lead into that space? Like, I just don't understand the want to either get it out the back, which is what he likes. He likes to get it out the back of his defender, or one-on-one and try to body him.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell Charlie Kerner how to fucking play football. That's not what I'm doing here. It's just when he kicks 3-7, obviously it needs to be spoken about.
I actually don't even think he gets out the back enough.
Yeah. Well, not this year. He has in the past, but not this year.
Yeah, he's majority of his goals and where he looks good is where he stays down off a contest and he just reads it well, like a small forward. And from like outside 50 or he's on a lead.
I still think our inside 50s need some work.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I don't know if we don't lead enough, but we just go to a pack.
Yeah.
9
Well,
times out of 10, we're just bombing.
Our
it
two
in
best
and-
kicks inside 50 this year for me have been Fantasia and Williams consistently.
Yeah.
They're the two that hit up leading targets and hit up the space. You said today when Williams went off. Was it you that said when Williams went off? No, it's someone else.
But
Yeah.
it was a big,
I was
big
talking
loss.
to. But yeah,
I don't even know. Like even Charlie wrestling against what's his name? The player that was playing him.
Buku.
Yeah, Buku. I still think he
Good
should
player.
be. Yeah, he is. But
He should be.
he should be out
destroying
muscling him.
Yeah.
No,
Out muscling, yeah, 1-on-1.
he should be.
Yeah.
He
The-
didn't.
And the thing is, because he didn't do it early, and Stampy's authority to go, it's my turf. Because Buku got a bit of confidence, you could see that confidence grew as the game went on, and he was able to take on Charlie. He was able to take the game on. So it's that Charlie is concerning. I don't think now, with all of that in perspective, though, right? I don't think Charlie won or lost us the game yesterday. We conceded 100 points.
Yeah.
Charlie Curno's got nothing to do with our our inability to defend a score at the moment. Yes or no?
No, obviously.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Obviously, in a close game, it's critical that you hope he kicks one or two of those because then it makes it a little bit closer. But that's not sustainable to just rely on him having 10 shots at goal a game.
No,
it's not.
That's an anomaly for starters.
Exactly.
I don't think he's the reason why we lost the game, but I still think he could have won us the game.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing with Charlie. This is why it's like, how harsh can you be on him? Because at the end of the day, we played like dog shit yesterday.
Yeah.
If he had a kick straight, he wins us the game off his own boot in a corner. That's the type of player that he is. We're talking margins here, right? If that ball that he burned Cripps with actually went through, we're sitting here going, fuck, how good is he? He's kicked one from 70. Yeah. If he kicks that one that doesn't hit the post, we're 3 points. It's 2 points in it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, defensively,
you can't concede 100 points.
after the first quarter
Yeah.
when they didn't kick a goal, I just thought every time they went in, they were going to score, and it pretty much
Actually,
was
that's a good
it.
point. We basically conceded 100 points in 3 quarters, not
Yeah.
4. 3 quarters.
Hmm.
That's disgusting.
Every
I-
time I
I
went
think
in, I
it's
was
the
like, "Oh,
s-
this is probably a goal."
Yeah.
It was.
I think it's the
the
6th time this year we conceded 100 points.
And all of them have been losses, except for not all of them have been losses, I think.
I think Adelaide, did they kick 100 or
They
just
kicked
under?
100. No. Collingwood didn't kick 100.
Yeah, Collingwood didn't kick 100. Yeah.
There was a game that I think both teams kicked 100 and we won. Can't remember. Anyway, it's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating across the board. See what happened last night. Concerned? Or will you be more concerned based on whatever the output is this week against North?
I'm not really concerned, to be honest, but it's obviously take a game by game, but 2 games in a row. Maybe if you see a third or a fourth where we're conceding heavily and, not winning, obviously, then you'll see some concern. But
Yeah, I'm not concerned. And I just think we've been put back to reality a little bit. And I actually think it's a good thing.
yeah,
Well,
Because like I said, and I said it a few weeks ago, I don't know if I said it on this podcast, but I think I said it to you, Joe, like, and this is when we're winning. So actually it wasn't even like after the GWS loss. I said on one side of the shoulder, I'm very optimistic about what we can achieve because I think our best is the best. But on my other shoulder, it's all about being paranoid. And that's where I'm at.
Yep. I agree. All right. Votes. We all had Cripps and Weeders in there. And these votes for you two should be swapped around because I thought Jules was going to be sitting there. You were sitting here on the graphic. All right. Corey, you want to start?
yep. I can't remember. Is it a 3-2-1 or a 1-2-3?
See, he's following the rules. It's 1, 2, 3.
It's 1, 2, 3.
Picked Sardi for 1. I think he had a pretty good game. He
He was good.
probably I can't remember what his defensive game was like, but with his ball in hand, 20 odd touches, 80 odd % efficiency, I'm pretty sure, about 500 meters gained. I think it's a pretty decent game, so I gave him the 1. 2 was Weeders. I think the first quarter he was on, or the first, I think it was the first quarter that he was on track for the most intercept marks in history or something.
Mhm.
I think he had 7 in the first quarter or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, if he was solely on Hugo Hagen, he did kick 4-3 or whatever he kicked. So
I don't think he was, though. I think he was.
I think, just as a unit, we're a bit nowhere defensively.
Yeah.
But I think he was still, obviously, he's a gun. So I gave him 2. And then 3 was obviously Cripps. He was unbelievable. Again, 200th game, kicked those 2 goals, almost a third.
That
It would
first
have
goal.
been- that might have lifted us in the
Yeah.
last quarter if you kicked that one.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. But I thought he was phenomenal again.
That first goal he kicked was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, on the run.
That lifted, like the crowd lifted something stupid for that one. That was good.
Yeah, it was massive. For me, I've got one vote. Weeders. He ended up having 13 intercept possessions. So not intercept marks, but 13 intercept possessions for the game. Out of his 21 touches. So, and he went at 86%. So he's got my one vote. He was actually labouring a bit, I reckon, towards the end of the game, and it probably had something to do with
cork.
He
from
copped
Waitman.
He's had 4
a knee in
corkies
the back
back from
row,
Waitman.
studs in the
that
back,
too. Yeah, the
studs,
studs. Yeah.
So
He's copped it this year.
Yeah,
Like he's
every
genuinely
game.
battered and bruised this year.
yeah. Voss had a bit of a dig in the post game presser about it.
that attempt.
Yeah.
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 Well, you're not allowed to stud in the back anymore.
Wasn't there one last week as well?
Yeah, and they didn't pay it. They actually paid the
Yeah,
mark.
that was probably worse last week.
Yeah. But still, that rule's there for a reason, and they don't pay it. This is what I mean about the AFL. It's fucking integrity of the rules at the moment.
I got Mackay for 3. I just think obviously the first half, that's when he sort of set the game alight. Obviously second half wasn't that great, but I just think in terms of his output for what he was actually given was great on the day. Obviously kicking the 3 goals, and he had 7 score involvements as well for the day, and then Cripps as well. Obviously, Cora, you spoke about in terms of what he was able to do. 28 touches, 8 tackles, 15 contested possessions, 11 clearances as well as the 2 goals. But for me, it was more about his leadership. Obviously, he led the boys on the actual day, like during the game, but then even after the final siren, he got the troops together and tried to rally them. So, I just think we're in a good position in terms of leadership, boys.
Yeah. I had Harry 1, Weeders 2, Cripps 3, for all the same reasons you boys have noted. Votes, Cripps is more than double Harry's votes now. Out in first. So he's got
Pretty
that
sure Cripps
locked
had a
up.
word to the boys after the game as well. And someone asked Fossey about it.
Yeah?
And he said,
Like a private word.
yeah, I think the coaches were in there. And he said, I don't know what was said, but I hope they listened, or something like that.
Good.
Was Vossey's quote. So.
Yeah. I mean, Cripps in his 200th, he did everything that he could to try and get us over the line in
Yeah.
that fourth. Like he was motoring in the fourth quarter. You could see it. And it's what leaders need to do. But when your troops don't go with you, I hope he did. I really hope he did
Apparently,
have a word. I know he had a word to the larger group to say thanks and whatnot. That was posted on socials, but I didn't watch Vossey's presser yesterday, but that's a good insight if so. All right. We got Livy back this week. She binned us last week, but back in form, and she gives Charlie an absolute clip today.
Hey everybody, it's Livy with Livy's Last Words, and this is what I thought about the game. Mate, I am not impressed. The Bulldogs won by 14 points. Mate, I've got to say, in the first and second quarter, we did play well. We were keeping track. It was a close game, but the third quarter, mate, they killed us. Absolutely killed us in the middle. You know, I kind of felt like we should have had Tom DeConey in the ruck, but it's okay. We tried 2 rucks, which would be kind of hard, so, yep. But the fourth and third quarter, mate, I was dying. It was not good to watch. Absolutely not. I mean, Kerno, mate, he's lazy. Absolutely lazy. He kicked 3 goals, but still had a bad game. But he missed 7. In the last quarter, mate, he should have kicked them. Mate, I was so angry. Same as Sam Walsh. You know, we missed a few at the end that we really, really needed. So, mate, I was very frustrated. But anyways, it was Cripper's 200th game today. Congratulations to him. He actually kicked 2 goals. I reckon he had the team on his shoulders, to be honest. Mate, he was an absolute gun. But it was sad that we actually couldn't get the win for Cripper today. But, you know, it's just not good enough. We've got to start winning these games. We needed to win that. And I don't want to see us going down the ladder again. I want to keep our spot on the ladder. One of my favourite players of the game was definitely Weeders. Mate, I love Weeders. He is an absolute gun, mate. he's one of the tops. He's so consistent and clean with the ball. So I think he played very, very well that game. Jordan Boyd coming off. He looked pretty distressed. Hopefully he'll be all right. I reckon having Mitch McGovern out was a big for us in the defence. Mate, bro, I swear to God that we could not get a punch. Mate, it was terrible to watch. Ugelhagen absolutely destroyed us. A couple other of their players destroyed us as well, which, mate, I was pretty angry about. I could not watch. But anyways, next game we are versing North Melbourne. That will definitely, hopefully be a win. If it's not, mate, I'm going to be absolutely frustrated. But anyways, this is what I thought about the game. Go the Blues!
All right, we've got a preview to do. And Livy, yes, absolutely nailed a few of them this week. But we've got a preview for next week. I thought the game was at 1:10 next week. It's 4:40 on Sunday.
Up early.
Yeah, very early.
Thanks, Corey.
Better than going to the wrong ground.
Yeah. 4:40 next Sunday against the Roos, which means this podcast will be next Monday night after the Bull Broad show at 8 p.m. For anyone listening. Yeah, North next week. We don't want to drop that one.
Oh, they've been a lot better the past month or so, but I think it should be a demolition job. Off 2 losses, disgusting losses.
You'd hope so.
You'd hope we just go out there and first quarter
Put them away.
Put them to the sword, you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm actually more interested in terms about who's going to be playing for us, to be honest with you.
Some of the comments here. North Clare Netball Club. Carlton sucks. Dacos rules. If you're spending your Sunday night as a Collingwood supporter watching us, I take it as a compliment. Absolute compliment.
Just means they got no one else in
No
their world to listen to with good content.
No problem. North. Oh, how's that for a clip? Jesus.
I'm not targeting anyone in particular.
All right. Move on. Hold on. I'm not getting involved in any of that shit. Fucking hell. Go on.
You could argue that we could almost play the same team and just see how they track.
But would you want to do that?
Well, if he wants to get some minutes into the guys, that
not for
just
me.
Come in.
Not for me. You've got to reward form, and you've got to punish the inability to show any sort of fight and desire by certain individuals.
Yeah, I've got 2 players that should be in guaranteed on the weekend.
Go on.
Hewitt.
Mhm.
Obviously, we've been speaking about for about 20 minutes out of the hour and 2 minutes, to be honest with him.
Yeah.
To be honest with you boys. And the other one's Motlop.
Yeah.
Kick 4 last week. This week, I think kick 1. But you know what he did, boys? He laid 9 tackles.
Yep. That's intent.
Yeah.
I think that's what you want.
Yep. It is.
As a small forward.
Is Gov going to be ready to go?
Apparently, he was 1 or 2 weeks away, but I think Voss in his presser alluded to the fact that they're going to check. They're going to check.
I personally would just leave him out. His history of soft tissues and stuff against North.
I'm in the same frame. I'm in
Yeah.
the same frame mind as you, Corey. So
does Marchbank get the call up again, or are you
You'd think
playing
so.
Lewis Young or Sam Durden?
Much
All right.
much better.
I mean, I haven't seen Durden play at VFL level. All I can remember was those a couple of years
He
back,
played like 1 or 2 games.
where he played a couple of games where I'm talking we were, in terms of key position players, we had like literally no one. Like Marchbank was injured and etc. I actually think he could do a job
Why not?
if he's in form at VFL level.
Well, Lewis Young had a game too.
Yeah, Lewis Young's actually put
Yeah.
a block of games together apparently in the VFL. I don't watch a lot of VFL, but apparently he's put together a nice block of games where
I mean, the
could
standard
probably bring him
difference
in.
is a lot between the AFL and the VFL. So when someone's getting 30 touches a game in the VFL, you can't translate that to an AFL game because they could rock up the next game and be nowhere. So
yeah, has Young had his chance? And obviously, I'm all for second, third chances. Obviously, form is the indicator. But is Durden maybe not better suited? And I'm not saying that, but is he not a player that sort of hasn't had that chance for a while now? Do you think we should be giving him a chance?
Does North have a
against the
matchup
North?
for him though? Because Weeders goes to Larky, and then who else have they got? They don't really have another key forward.
Zerha.
Nah, but like
He's not
tall
like a tall,
key.
yeah.
Not really. Oh, Toby Pink's been playing up there for North, so maybe. And you know what? To be honest, Sam Durden could probably do a job on Pink. It's probably the right one-on-one matchup. So yeah. I reckon if Toby Pink plays forward, you're probably bringing in Sam Durden for Marchbank based on Marchbank's output from last week. So we're saying Durden, Motts, and Hewitt. So Motts comes in for Williams. You think Williams misses with hamstring? They're not going to play him, and then Hewitt has to come in for someone. Are we playing 2 rucks or are we dropping Chera to a sub?
I don't know. I could see more than 3 changes. I know we were talking about continuity, but yeah, I just think we sort of got to reward the players in the VFL in terms of form, and bring back some of the players that potentially shouldn't have been dropped in a Hewitt. Yeah, I think Fantasia did get injured as well in the VFL.
He was injured in VFL, so he won't see him.
early on.
Yep.
What about Jack Martin? Apparently got through. I don't know if he played the full game, but
No, he did. He got through unscathed. Yeah.
would you even bother playing him against North?
No, I think he needs to put in a good 3-4 games.
Yeah.
Cunners has been down there for a while. He's getting through each game. Jack Carroll.
Jack Carroll put up numbers.
There's a few there that you could bring in for a North and go, you know what, if you want to prove yourself, he's the game to do it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I reckon.
There's just a few on the chopping block for me after that game. There has to be, and after the GWS game, you can't just roll with the same squad again. They just haven't. The output hasn't been there. You've conceded 100 points 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I could see David Cunningham come back in, just for the balance, and I could see us reverting back to a 1 ruck very easily.
If it's 1 ruck against North, I think it's Pitto against Cherry, rather than it's Conning.
Yeah,
Just based purely on Cherry's work rate.
I know. Obviously, GWS TDK was sore because of the ankle.
Could have been carrying that a little bit too.
Voss did say that because one of the journos obviously asked in terms of the 2 ruck system, and Voss did say that we had the potential to play Pitto because of TDK in terms of his. They didn't want him to attend that many set of bounces because of the ankle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. North not too tall down back. Aiden Core, Charlie Combin. So you could potentially play the 2 rucks.
Many more players.
Yeah, that's all I've got. I think 2 ruck. TDK goes down there. You can maybe expose him for height.
Yeah.
It should be a pretty similar game to the one early in the season.
The problem is, well, not even that. It should be a similar game to the way we should have attacked the Dogs. We said, if we can get our hands on the football, get it in there, expose them for height. Once we actually started doing that, we were taking marks inside 50. We just couldn't get our hands on the football. So, and North Melbourne, for all their flaws, the one thing that they've got is a very, very good young midfield. Very good. And they're plucky. So if they get into the game early, they're very hard to stop because they get a little bit of a run on. Yeah. And if I'm telling you, if our midfield doesn't want to work against North Melbourne, forget about it.
In fairness, they have lifted the last month.
Massively. And Clarko, he's our bogey coach. He's always had the wood over us. So this isn't, no offense, not a demolition job just on paper, but like we've got to show up against this mob. We do with the form they've been showing.
Yeah. Honestly, I reckon if we don't show up, it's going to be a very, very close game.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, even Voss in his presser, he said that the competition is very close. And I know when Livy was talking, we're just having a look at the ladder. And I think it's like 1 or 2 games from, I think we're 1 or 2 games from 9th or 10th.
Yeah.
Literally,
that's
how
2 wins from where Collingwood is. So,
like that's how close it is. It's a fine margin. And I know Pov alluded to it as well, that obviously lost the last couple of weeks. This could be the difference between making top 4. But I don't even want to say it, but we're that close to not being in the 8. Like that's how close it is.
It's 1 game.
Yeah. That's how close it is.
It's just our percentage that we keep in there.
It's fine lines. And I was speaking to Pov only a couple of hours ago. 2-3 years ago, we're losing games against Adelaide, and we weren't making the 8 because of it.
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
Yeah. It's complacency.
Yeah.
We're not a team that can't put in the effort for 4 quarters. Not yet.
That's a theme the whole season, though.
Not yet. The effort needs to be there. It's just patchy.
The only game was Geelong where we put it together for 4 quarters. That was the one.
Yeah.
And to be fair, for me, that team on the day, that was the best balance I've seen us have.
That's what I don't understand. Why change things?
Exactly.
Unless you've got an injury, obviously.
Exactly. And since then, we've had players come in, dynamic changes, haven't looked the same.
Yeah, and a lot of the time they weren't forced changes either, which
No.
is for me is the interesting part.
All right. Predictions. So a margin, and what we're doing now is this little give us a prediction of a moment, not a moment, but
What could
A
happen?
memory.
Nah,
No, not a
what could
memory.
happen? Like he's
Oh.
Cripps gonna have 30, kick
Yeah.
3 goals,
So you need to give us a margin.
or first goal kicker or something.
Well, I'm going to give a margin of 54 points.
Yep.
I think we do it quite easily.
Mhm.
Charlie kicks a bag.
How
Harry kicks a
many?
bag.
How many?
5.
5
plus.
each.
Nah, maybe 3 to Harry. 5 plus to Charlie.
No, I like it.
I reckon
It's
Carlton
good
by
to be confident.
I reckon Carlton by 78.
Fuck, he has no demolition job, and then he comes out.
I said no
78.
demolition
Oh.
job, but he's been on board. Go. But you did. Oh yeah.
That's
anyway,
why I
go.
went conservative
Yeah,
because
no.
I was like, oh, man, I want to go higher now.
I know. I said I said it could be close,
Right. Yeah.
if we don't bring it.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
think
Oh,
we're gonna
bringing it.
we're gonna
We're
bring
bringing
it.
78 and
78. And I think Walsh has 30 and kicks 2.
I'll go 30. Just because I'm a bit hesitant after the last couple of weeks. I
You're
think
nervous.
we'll win. I actually am nervous with where we're going with the trajectory now, and I'll be more confident when I see the team sheet if the right changes are made, and if the right personnel come out, the right personnel come in. But right now, if we're rolling with that team we saw on the weekend, I think 30, and I think Cripps has 40, kicks 2, another 3 votes.
Yeah, who's going to stop him?
No one's stopping him.
Yeah.
He'll go-
That was a three vote game
there was
from Cripps.
if we had a 1, he might get 1 or 2.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Who?
Well,
maybe
you got Hagen
maybe
kicked
Jaeger.
4.
Yeah, maybe
Bailey
Jaeger.
Dale.
Yeah,
had a
go.
good game. Yeah,
Bailey
yeah,
Dale was
yeah,
good, and Riley West kicked 4 as well. Like
Yeah,
they're all
those are the 3, I reckon.
they're all there. But Cripps will get votes, whether it's 1 or 2. He'll get votes. Yeah, I'm telling you,
There's
he's
his
right.
200th umpires in his pocket.
Nah,
2 goals,
Mm,
but
yeah, the 2 goals are big.
Come on, man.
It could be one that defines the Brownlow. If he gets 3 votes in that
just
one,
one of those random.
Has it not
ones.
Yeah.
happened? Has it not happened though?
well, Lockie Neal got 3 for a 20 disposal game against Gold Coast last year. That one in the Brownlow. So I don't know. Maybe. All right. Well, that's it. No, not happy Dan this week because he's not here. Unless you two are unhappy about something.
No, I'm sure Dan's very happy.
Yeah, he's happy this week. You got something? You're in his chair. I felt the energy of him just fucking resonating through you tonight. You've been a bit like fucking.
On edge.
Have you got one? If you've got one, I'll play the little
No, I
sting.
don't have one.
Okay.
Nothing's come to mind yet.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
0.
Can I?
All right.
No.
You want it?
Defense. Image online.
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Jan!
He was. All right. Jules doesn't have anything.
Joe's
He
throwing
doesn't-
me out of the bus.
No,
here
no. He
because-
doesn't have anything. He was gonna have a crack at our sponsor. That's just fucking stupid.
Oh,
Now I'm gonna try.
we
and
want to be
think-
honest, don't
Well,
we?
I've played the things. I'm gonna think of something. You know, I'll just say I'm not happy with myself because the first 10 minutes tonight, you're not even gonna be able to hear Corey speak because I completely fucked up the audio. So,
I know, and you were here half an hour before
I
as
know,
well.
that's on me. Well, we all were.
Standard.
Oh,
Standard.
Wouldn't be
So
the
that's-
first time or last time.
I'm not happy with myself.
Yeah.
And if Dan was here, he would have absolutely torn me on for that. So fair enough. All right, Corey, what do you think?
All calm.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
You're welcome back whenever you want. Got a bit of love in the group chat tonight as well.
It's been an honor. Corey?
I'm a big deal. So to get me on, I had to move some things around the schedule. So.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
like we said off the top, he's really
Yeah.
unhappy that he had to miss out on the dinner
Well,
tonight.
yeah.
I don't know if listeners actually.
Oh,
listeners
they
didn't
wouldn't have
even-
heard.
they wouldn't
He
even
actually
heard.
got off scot free. That's true.
No, I think they heard.
That's true. All right. Until next week, Jules.
Up the baggers.
Go Baggers.
Well, yeah, if we win.